filled in for safety, but that's about what they were at the
I
time.
meant to go and pick fresh ones, but I ran out of time. Anybody ever seen something like this? Anybody care to venture a guess what it is?
Is that the gall?
Yeah. This is off of an oak tree, by the way. This one was picked a while back. You can see it's kind of wilted. This is an oak gall. And it's formed, is the gall wasp picture in there? It's formed when something called a gall wasp lays its egg on the oak tree, which is one of its favorite places. And by the way, there are lots of varieties of gall wasps. And I think we have a picture of Mr. Gall Wasp or Miss Gall Wasp.
See if I can find her.
And she's pretty scary looking, but
Here we go.
pretty scary looking, but if she were here, she'd fit on the tip of my little finger. So she's not that scary. And when she lays her egg on the oak tree, she submits a chemical. Here's a warning, nerd science is about to pop up.
Long.
So when she lays her eggs on the oak tree, she submits a chemical that inhibits the cellular growth of the tree.
Mouthpiece, so it's like a
And so the
Oh,
tree
that's
in its little oak tree brain says,
they can actually
hey, somebody put something on me that I don't like. It's
I
not very
see.
pleasant.
proboscis.
And so it creates, just like when we get stung, we have a welt and maybe a scab. So the tree creates the gall around it. I'm going to pass these around, and you'll notice each one of these has a tiny, perfectly round hole in it. Take a quick look and pass it on. And that occurs when the little egg inside the gall hatches out and says, hey, I need to go out in the world and find a tree to lay my eggs and be part of the ecosystem. By the way, they only live about 3 weeks. Your history and mine are written off of these trees with these galls. This is a copy of William Barrett Travis's famous victory or death letter from the Alamo. You can see victory or death, William Barrett Travis, his signature here. And it was written, like most of our historic documents at the time, with a quill pen and ink made from oak galls. People since the time of ancient Romans have known how to make this ink. And since Travis lived here before he went, it's likely that his ink, his personal supply ink, was made from galls found in this forest, in this area.
What did you say they mixed with the gall?
I'm about to tell you. Good question. So you need a few things to make it. Would you hold that? Yeah. So one of the things you need is galls, and that's what gives the ink its rich brown color. And so you take really sophisticated equipment like 2 stones and you crush them into a powder. These are crushed, but I was too lazy to make them into a powder. You crush them into a powder, and that's what gives the ink that beautiful color. Modern calligraphers make their own ink this way, and they use something called gum arabic, which they send off and pay ungodly amounts of money. It comes from the acacia tree in Africa. It's the resin from the acacia tree. We don't have acacia trees here, but we have mesquite trees, which is a cousin to the acacia. So you can use the resin of that. Or even better, you can go down to the pine forest and find pine sap, that gooey, sticky, smelly stuff, and dry it out. And then you take those modern engineering marvels we talked about a moment ago, 2 rocks, and you mash it into a powder. And that serves the same purpose as gum arabic. It thickens the ink so that when you dip your quill into it, it'll be of the right viscosity to be able to print. The last thing you need is iron oxide. Everybody know what iron oxide is? Rust. So here you'd go down to the blacksmith shop, you'd take a iron pot and ask him for some of the nails that are holding the buildings together that he handmade, forged, shiny new nails, and you'd dump a bunch of them in the pot and fill it with water, and you'd come back in a little bit and guess what? They'd be all rusty. And the rust on them forms a brown or a black powder, and you can throw that into your ink recipe. And those are the three things you need, and you boil it all in water, and voila, you have ink. And kids would be sent out, teenagers and kids would be sent out in the forest. I need to make some ink, go find me some galls and some pine sap and have it back on the kitchen table by sundown if you want your cornbread, that sort of thing.